Well, hello, my name is Chauncey Allman, national presenter for Faith Life, makers of Logos Bible software. I am excited, as I always am, to host another Women in the Word. Now, for those of you who are new to Women in the Word, you may not know what this program is all about. Women in the Word is a platform for women in ministry to get to show off their platform, talk about their ministries, talk about what they're working on, what they're studying, any books that are coming out, any podcasts. And some of the guests on Women in the Word are household names. You may know names like Jen Wilkin and Lisa Fields and Christy Anabuile, and the list goes on. But we also have some folks who may not be household names, because the purpose of the show isn't to just have people who are household names. The purpose is to have women in ministry who have a powerful voice and, most importantly, love the Lord. And so with that said, I'm super excited about the guests I have tonight, because not only are they good people who love the Lord, I just happen to know them personally. They're from my same hometown of Norfolk, Virginia, and I am excited to have them on. And so without any further ado, as they say, I'd like to present the ladies from Cardio Conversation, without an S, because I'm not trying to get in trouble for putting an S on the end. I made that mistake one time and somebody jumped on me real quick. So Cardio Conversation. And Cardio Conversation is made up of, and I'm going to go in the order that they're on my screen. I don't know what the order on your screen, but I have Katrina Garrett at the top left. We got Carla in my bottom left. We have Tam on my bottom right. Ladies, what's up? How y'all doing?
Doing good, doing good. You know
Good.
what? I just wanted to keep in what you were saying about household names, so I went and said my name in every room. So guess what? Now I'm a household name.
There you go. Household name. See,
Yes.
I knew it. I knew this is going to be one crazy hour, however long we up here. I can tell already. And we haven't even done the icebreaker question yet. So
Ooh.
if we could, maybe Trina, we start with you. If you could just introduce yourself for those who may not know who you are, maybe what you do for a living, where you live, that type of thing.
Okay, so my name is Katrina Garrett. For a living, I'm actually a consultant. I implement software for healthcare organizations. I've been doing that for over 20 years. And I live in Newport News. I'm married, no children. And I'm a part of this cardio conversation team. And aside from that, I love to do ministry. So wherever there's an opportunity to do outreach to reach the people, that is where my passion lies, so that they can experience the love of Christ.
There you go. See, there we go. Trina Garrett. Okay, Carla, Miss Household Name herself. Carla.
Miss Household name herself. Yes, said it all around the household. I am an educator, and this is my first year not being in the classroom, not working with children full time. And so what I do is, as an educator, I work with churches, and I go in and I conduct workshops, either for adults or for kids. And so I get an opportunity to do what I enjoy, and that's talking about Jesus Christ. Aside from that, I enjoy children's theater. So I perform here locally with the Hurrah Players, a family theater in Norfolk. Also, I perform with TRS Kids, Tanya Shadley Rollins, and Sharon Cook with the Underground. And I have the privilege of doing spots on television. So in this season of my life, I'm getting to live out some of the dreams I always wanted to. And what I love about Cardio Conversation is it was a prayer. I said, "Ooh, Lord, I would love to be on a talk show where we get to talk about Jesus Christ." And let me tell you something. Some of the things that you have in your heart, put them out there in the atmosphere. Oh my goodness. And so uh, it, being on stage, being in front of camera, talking about Jesus Christ, all three of my passions, I praise God that I'm able to be a member of Cardio Conversation and marry all of those passions.
There you go. And you're not shy, take it, huh?
Oh no, no. Of the three of us, I have no pride. This is
No
not.
problem. All right. Well, believe it or not, we're going to get to that in just a minute in our icebreaker question, but I'll save that for a second, for a minute. So Tam, tell us about you.
Tamara is the name. Friends and family call me Tammy. I am a dental hygienist. I've been a dental hygienist for 25 years. I am a wife and a mother. I only have one child, and he is my buddy. I am also the co-founder of Kingdom Purpose TV. My husband and I, we'll probably get into it a little bit later, created that platform. And so we stay pretty busy between that and cardio conversations. So right now I am just enjoying being amongst this iron that's sharpening me daily because they keep me on my toes. And I'm grateful to be doing something so purposeful with friends. These are true friends. We grew up together. And so, you know, God is the best architect. He orchestrates things. He's very strategic. And so I am doing something out of my comfort zone, but I'm comfortable, if that makes sense, because I'm paired with people that I love.
That's awesome. And, you know, of all the guests that I've had up here, I mean, I've known some of them, I've read some of their books, but the three of you, it's different because, first of all, I can talk about Norfolk, Virginia and not have to worry about saying it wrong, you know, trying to be all proper and say Norfolk, Virginia. The three of us, and I think Tammy just said it, Norfolk. We from Norfolk, Virginia. That's just where it is. And shout out to the three of you, graduates of Norview High School, my old stomping ground. So Norview High School, time to get a pilots a shout out. And so, as I mentioned, other than Carla, you know, Tam and Cameron or Katrina may not be household names like Carla. And so I want to give the audience an opportunity to know about the three of you. Just from your intros, it's obvious that you're really good friends. And so I have a little icebreaker that they are really nervous about, by the way, too, y'all. I told them it's an icebreaker. They have no idea what it's about. I just told them they need to have a piece of paper and a pencil so they can do this icebreaker. So here we go. This icebreaker, the purpose of it is for this audience to get to know cardio conversation in a way that they may not know before. Again, people are being introduced to you for the first time, but now we're really getting ready to really know who you are. So here we go. I have 10 questions and one bonus question. I'm going to read one question at a time. And after I read the question, you just write down the answer, and then we'll go over the answer of that question. Then we'll go to the next question. As simple as that. So here's the premise of it. Each question, the three of you has to answer with a name. And so that name is one of you three. So the first person who comes to mind, you write it down. We don't give you a whole bunch of time to think about it. So I'm going to ask a question. Here's a practice question. I might say, okay, who has on purple tonight? Okay, that's easy. That's Tam. All right, you can see that. All right, so I'm going to give you 10 questions and a bonus. Okay, you ready?
Okay.
Okay, here we go. First question. You have a group meeting scheduled at 3:00. Fictional, it's at 3:00. Which one of you three is going to be late? Guaranteed going to be late. Okay, here we go. Katrina, who's going to be late?
Carla,
who's going to be late?
Katrina.
All right, Tam, tell us the truth. Who's going to be late?
Carla.
Carla, okay, Carla on CP time. Okay, all right. Next question. Question number 2. Of the three of you, who is the life of the party? All right, Tam, who's the life of the party? Carla is. Okay, Tam froze a little bit, but she said Carla. Okay, Carla, who's the life of the party between the three of you?
Katrina.
Okay. Katrina, who's the life of the party? Carla, so you 2 for 2, Carla. Okay, you late and the life of the party. Okay.
And hey, a party ain't a party till I come through, and it's guaranteed to be player proof.
All right, so she said it. All right, late Carla and party at the life of the party. Okay, here we go. Third question: who is the worrywart of the group? I mean, who just worries all the time? Who is the one? And y'all didn't even have to think. Y'all wrote quick. Okay, Carla, who's the worrywart?
It's Tam.
Tam worries all the time. Okay, Katrina, who's the worrywart?
It's Tam.
It's Tam. Tam. You agree? All
I
right.
agree. I agree.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Now here we go. Question number 4. Who is the super saved one in the bunch? You know, you have super saved friends. They're like too saved sometimes. Like,
Ooh.
okay, here we go. Trina had to think about that one for a little bit.
It's a toss up, man.
It's a toss up. It's a toss up. All right, Trina, let's go with you. Who's the super saved one of the bunch?
I'm gonna say Tam.
Okay, Tam, super saved. Okay, Carla, who you got?
Trina.
Okay. All right, Tam, who you got? Who's the super saved one?
I put my name down for that one.
All right, okay. So you worry all the time, but you're super saved. I don't know, maybe we need to get into that a little bit in the conversation. All right, here we go. Number 5. Of the 3 of you, who's most likely to wear sneakers to church? Most likely to wear sneakers to church. Okay, Trina, who you got?
Katrina.
Trina, okay, you. Okay, Carla, you agree with that?
Trina.
Okay, Tam, what you say? Trina, okay, nothing wrong with that. Okay, here we go. I think I know the answer to this, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. Okay, the 3 of you are out at a gathering at night. Who is the first to say, I'm tired, I'm ready to go home and go to bed? Okay, Carla, who you got?
Tam.
Tam, Tam, you surprised? You agree with that?
Listen now, Trina was the one that fell asleep at 5:30 yesterday, so I put Trina.
So we went out. I was home.
Listen, Trina, Tam will say there's a decent time for everyone to be in the house. Okay? There's an appropriate, we do not want our good evil spoken of.
That's correct.
I believe it is time to go home.
Oh boy. Trina, they got you, because we had a pre-meeting yesterday and Trina wasn't up there. We're like, where is she? And she was like, I was asleep. Okay, but that was one night. So Trina, who you got?
I put Tam.
You put Tam. Okay. Well, Tam looks like she's leading right now, but we got a few more questions. To go. All right. Who is the most organized in the group? Most organized. All right. That was quick. Okay. Trina, who you got?
Me.
You. Okay. All right. Tam, who you got?
Put me.
Oh, okay. Carla, are you saying you too? Carla.
Put me. No, I didn't put me. Put Tam.
Tam, okay. All right. Well, Trina, you got a little more work to do, looks like. All right. Now, I think I know the answer to this one too. Most likely to want to climb Mount Everest. Who's the adventurous one? Most likely to climb Mount Everest. All right, Tam, who you got? Carla, okay. All right, Carla, who do you have?
Trina.
Trina climbing Mount Everest. Okay, Trina, what do you think?
I put me.
Okay. All right, the adventurous one. See, I tell you, now all these questions, you can tell, it really gets to the heart of this group. All right, so we know now. All right, I think I know the answer to this one too. Best singer in the group. Who ready to cut that solo album? Okay, Carla, who you got?
I got Trina.
Trina, okay, all right. Trina, who do you have?
Me.
You, okay. All right, Tam, you agree with that?
Put Trina.
Okay. Now, I thought Carla, because you mentioned being on stage and all of that, so I just automatically assumed, okay, Trina, I did not know that about you. All right, now we're gonna go opposite of that. We're gonna go worst singer in the group. Worst singer.
I wouldn't know. I'm only going to say this because I don't know. So.
Okay. So you want to pass on this? Everybody want to pass? Because it could be that all 3 of you can sing. Just Trina is just the best of the 3.
Yeah.
Or is it someone who really can't sing? Let's be honest. Somebody, the 3 of you, somebody just can't sing.
I think we can all sing.
Okay, we're gonna leave it at that. Good. Maybe y'all can sing before it's over. Okay.
In fact, we might want to cut an album. There it is. The Cardio Conversation album. Okay, here's the bonus question. Extra credit. Bonus question. Of the 3 of you,
who went to the best college?
Oh, shucky ducky.
Y'all know that was a trick question. Y'all know it was a trick question. Trina, you the winner. I already know. Trina, can you Trina,
I'm the winner.
Writing down. I'm not even gonna write anything down.
Listen, behold the green and the gold.
Trina, you know it's a trick question.
Forever, baby. ODU.
We got ODU, we got Norfolk State, but Trina, can you please tell them? Represent Trina.
Virginia Tech Hokies. The Virginia Tech Hokies.
There you go.
That's in the house.
There you go. That's why I went. That's why it was a bonus question.
What's a Hokie? What's a Hokie?
Hey, don't get us started. That was a trick question, so I knew I had to get that in. All right. Well, hey, see, that wasn't too bad, was it?
Nope.
No, that wasn't bad. That wasn't bad at all.
We learned a lot about you. All right, let's get into some of the more serious things. That was all serious, but some of the more serious things. I would like to know, how did Cardio Conversation get started? Carl, I think you said something about it was a dream or a prayer or something like that. So I'll start with Carla. How did this group come together to form Cardio Conversation?
It was all a dream. No.
Look, Trina gonna get you.
Well, you know what? How Cardio Conversation came together. The lady, I have been praying. When you love to perform, when you love God, you want opportunities, and that's what I like about Christian broadcasting, Christian radio. You give artists an opportunity to do what they love and still keep it giving glory to the one they love, Jesus Christ. Mm-hmm. And so Tam called me. Okay, they'll tell all right, I joke about this all the time, but I'm like the Michelle Williams of the group. Okay. I'm like the Michelle. I came at the end. Like after they got rid of everybody else, y'all don't remember. Right. Bam, there was me. Okay. And so she called, she said, hey, I got this idea. I was riding down the street. I will never forget. And she said, I'm thinking about doing like a talk show where we talk about Jesus Christ, but we'll be on our machines. Now, I am the only person who doesn't have a machine out of the group, who didn't have one. And so I'm like, I pull over and I'm like, for real, word. I said, well, cool. I will have a machine here by next week. She said, wait a minute. It's just an idea. Don't even worry about it. Let me tell you something. When God speaks, when there is, you don't wait. You know what I'm saying? If it's gonna rain, you build an ark, right? Right. It seems like to me, you don't wait till it rains. You gonna start building the ark. Right. So I said, listen, don't even worry about it. I was on Craigslist the next day, Facebook Marketplace. I had my machine here. Now mine isn't as nice as theirs. I'm not gonna mention the name brand, but it does what it needs to do. Okay. The
pedals work, right?
Amen. The pedals work. The pedals work. My counterparts here, they have, name brand stuff. But my little baby, she works. She does what she needs to do. And so I was so excited to become part of the family, part of the Cardio Conversation family.
Wow, that's good. So Tam, it sounds like I keep saying Cam. My son's name is Cameron, and we call him Cam. So I apologize for saying Cam.
That's all right.
So Tam, how did this idea come together, and how did the idea? For those of you who don't know, we haven't even talked about it yet. So the three of them are literally working out on a workout machine or a bike, and they're literally working out and talking about or having a conversation, hence the term Cardio Conversation, about Jesus. So how did that, that's a very interesting concept. So how did that concept come about?
Okay, so initially, Cardio Conversation was birthed during the pandemic. Okay. And what happened was, my husband is an overseer of a group of churches. And during the pandemic, people started getting on Facebook and just kind of, getting that word out there. And so one of the churches was put in Facebook jail for 90 days, and she didn't know what was going on. Okay. And so long story short, my husband created this platform called Kingdom Purpose TV, a 24/7 streaming platform for, he did it initially for those 6 ministries. So he came to me and he was like, okay, so what do you want to do? What do you want to do? And let me just say, I wanted to do something, but my intent was what I wanted to do. I
Okay.
wasn't considering the Lord at that moment. And so the first 2 ideas that I came up with both flopped. Trina was a part of both of those ideas, but they didn't work out. And so one day Trina said, Tammy, did you even pray about it? And I said, not really, because I was just kind of focusing on, honestly, I'm being transparent because we help somebody, keeping myself comfortable in the background, right?
Okay.
So the first concept didn't work out. We weren't working out. It was more of a conversation kind of thing. And then the other aspect was the radio side of Kingdom Purpose TV. We also have a radio side of it. And so that was even perfect for me because I would really be behind the scenes. And so really when I went back and I said, okay, Lord, I know you want to use me. So really allow me to just get quiet and just hear what you want me to do. And at this particular moment, I was in my husband's office and I just blurted out, treadmill talks. And then I was like, oh no, but everyone doesn't have a treadmill. And then I sat there a little bit longer and then I yelled cardio conversation. And my husband turned around and he was like, oh, that was from the Lord. So that was the beginning of it. And I was like, God, he got me because he made me do exactly what I didn't want to do, which is now I'm talking to people, I'm in front of people, I'm having to be stretched. I'm no longer in my comfort zone. And so I was like, wow, I'm about to embark on something that I am totally like against in so many words, but I knew it was beyond me. It was bigger than me. It was more than just girls getting together and chatting. It was ministry, but I was trying to keep myself hidden so that I didn't have to do that. So long story short, I ended up speaking out of my mouth the thing that I was hiding from. And so once that happened, I was like, God, you got me. Okay, I'm going to surrender. And then I'm going to just do this thing the way you want to do it and not the way that I want to do it. And once that happened, everything fell into place. Wow. It all just started to flow. And I was like, look how easy this is. Whereas before we were, it just never worked out. And that was because I was in the way.
That's an amazing story. And I love the fact that you said, you've been transparent. You said, I wanted to do something that was more comfortable for me. And they asked, did you pray about it? And then it just came out. And that's an amazing story. And so then, so Trina was a part of some of the other ones. And so Trina, what did you think when you first heard about this idea of working out and having a conversation at the same time?
It was the working out and having a conversation at the same time. Because I don't work out and talk. I either talk or I work out, but I ain't doing both. And so, when we first talked about it, Tam's husband, the producer, he was like, let's do it for an hour. I was like, whoa. I was like, no, let's start off with 30 minutes first. We got to build ourselves up. So it was an interesting thing. But one of the things that I believe is that we specialize in a healthy heart. And it's a healthy heart, not just spiritually, but physically. Because we want to be the manifestation of the word that you speak, So we can't talk about having a healthy heart and we're not working on both of our hearts, spiritual and physical.
Wow. So how often do you come out with a conversation where you work out? Is it like once a week or once a week? All right. So talk about some of the most recent conversations you've had together. You're on the treadmill, you're on the bike, whatnot. What's like the last one you all did, and tell us about how it went.
Well, can I go? Because I got one. The walk. Okay, the talk, the walk. I think Carla did this. Okay, what you have to understand is that we pick the topic, but we don't talk to each other about the topic because we want
Prior
the
to.
conversation to be organic. So
Okay.
all we know is the topic.
Okay.
When we come in, no one knows what anybody's going to say. Nobody knows. We have corners that we also presented, but no one knows how it's going to be because we want our conversation to be organic. And so for me, when we did the walk the talk, which was saying, don't just talk about Christ, but live a life that reflects Christ. Carla got up there and she came and she talked about the matrix and how we would walk, our faith was in the matrix, and she did this matrix move on the treadmill. So we were like, what? Because she was like, you using your sword to cut somebody else, but when the sword comes your way, you be like, and she did this, and she was like, in the matrix. And me and Tam was like, what? She's on this elliptical and she's doing this matrix move because we didn't know where she was going. And she was like, is your faith in the matrix? Are you saying something, but you're living in a certain place, but you don't want to apply to your life? So it was just, that was a good show. Don't just walk the walk.
I'm gonna have to go find that one. I'm gonna go find that one because I want to see you all's faces when she did that. Now, Carla, what's one of the memorable ones that you can recall?
The one we just taped, Against All Odds. I love having guests on. So often we'll have guests. We had a guest for domestic violence month. We had someone to talk about being a caregiver for cancer survivors or people who had a victorious journey. And so I love the last one we did, Against All Odds. It was just so inspiring to hear a young lady, Lisa Smith, who started a medical coding school. It was so interesting to hear her story. How many, as she started talking about Against All Odds was the topic, and how every time she started, there was like one thing that came to discourage her or another obstacle, and they kept being obstacles. And as she talked, all I could see was Peter getting out of the boat and the waves. And it was like wave after wave until he eventually, wait a minute, I am walking on water. And that's her entire story. I could just see Peter walking on water. I could see her coming out of the boat on her faith and all of these things coming against her. So even hearing other people's stories, that's the last one we just taped that is supposed to air this Saturday. And so I love having guests on because they give a different perspective to the show.
Now, do your guests, when you have guests, do they have to work out too at the same time?
Yes.
Only for the first 10 minutes.
Okay, you don't put them through an hour. Okay.
No.
All right. Good to know. Tam, what's one that's memorable to you?
I think we did a 2-part show, What Women Want, and then we did another one, What Men Want. And we got our husbands involved, and it was just very interesting, the things that people, and then we also had a part of that show that consisted of their deal breakers in relationships. And we were shocked to find out that being someone who had a relationship with Christ came way down on the list. I think it was like 6 or something. And we were like, this is so interesting. But domestic violence or an abusive person came in at like, like it didn't make sense. It made us really look at like, what are we doing? Like, how are we prioritizing life?
Tam, what about body odor?
Body odor. I mean, things that people.
Wow.
Chauncey. I mean, it was amazing what we found out. But one thing that we found out on both sides, men and women both wanted a partner who was trustworthy.
Okay.
So that was good, but we were like, hey y'all, we need to have another meeting here because if Jesus is coming in at number 6, we have
work to do.
We have work to do.
Now, when people watch your, would you call it a podcast necessarily, or how would you classify it?
We just call it a show.
A show, okay. So when people watch your show and they watch the whole thing and it's over, what do you hope they get out of it? what do you hope they walk away from? I know the topics obviously are very different, but if there's one or two things you hope people walk away from as a result of watching your show, Trina, what would you say it is? Your goal?
I think it's living the word out. I think it's challenging people's mentality of, because we'll say we're saved, or you hear people profess that they're Christians, but then when things happen, you can't see the Christ in them. So it's like we're challenging mentality and how you look at things so that you can truly live a life as a disciple or follower of Christ. Because sometimes you look at Christians, you can't tell who they following. We say we're Christians, but you're like, who are you following though?
Right. Yeah, that's good. Now, Carla, would you agree with that, or would you say there's something else that you would want people to walk away from watching your show?
I would definitely say that practicality.
Okay.
Is the word of God practical? Are you walking away? I love at the end of every show. Now I'm gonna say it wrong, Tam, so you're gonna correct me and tell me what it is. But they're the takeaways. So after the recap, Tam listens to the entire show and takes different just gems, just nuggets. And she does a recap at the very end. Like, if you didn't know what the takeaway was when you watched the recap, this is what you should have taken away. And so I love that it's practical. And I love that we give examples from our lives. We have guests on that give examples from their lives. And we are very transparent about where we are and how this works in our lives and how people can apply it to theirs.
That's good. And I was kind of scanning through a couple of them, and on a couple of them, you all were like working out. I mean, I'm like real sweat, because when I first heard about it, I'm gonna be honest, I thought it was like just okay, we just gonna be walking and talking. But I think one of it, I think it was you, Carl. I was saying, I mean, it was like sweat pouring down and just talking at the same time. And so it's good. So Tam, what would you say some of the feedback that you've gotten as a result of people watching your show? You have any, like, I don't want to call them success stories, but have people shared ways that they've been impacted by watching the show so far?
I think we all have the thing we do. Like Trina is the foundation person. She's going to lay the foundation. Carla's going to come in and she's going to give you scriptures and she's going to teach. And then I come at the end and I want you to think about how you're going to apply this into your life. How are you going to make what you've heard happen? And so that's what I'm kind of hearing, that people really, they're listening and they're really trying to apply it, because a lot of what we deal with in life is because we're reading and we're hearing something, but we're still kind of like struggling with, well, how do I do this? And so when people are able to say, well, hey, you guys made a great point about A, B, and C, and I really thought that through and I prayed about that. And I really, I was intentional about moving forward beyond this point, that makes us feel good to know that people are listening. Sometimes you think, okay, because we can, like my husband will say, oh, you had so many viewers today. And Trina's about the viewers now. Trina wants to know how many viewers we have. And so we're getting to a place where we're just like, you know what? It's just one person is just help with one thing that's said. Because honestly, Chauncey, when we are working out and talking, I forget where I am and what I'm doing sometimes, because these women can teach.
Yeah.
And they make me forget, oh girl, you need to keep balance and stay focused, because then you're going to have to respond. But I'm so caught up in what I'm learning. So to know that other people have that same response to what they're hearing makes me feel great.
That's awesome. Go ahead,
and I just have to add, like, we don't beat you up in the word, we stretch you in the word, right?
Yeah.
So Tam, her segment is called Don't Do That. So she'll do life application. She'll set up a scenario. She'll be like, picture this. And you'll be imagining what she's saying, because her imagery is just phenomenal. And then she'll say what your response in your flesh would be. And then she'll say, don't do that. And when she does, and I mean, her segment is called Don't Do That. But oftentimes when I talk to people, they'll say, I was about to do this, but I heard Tam's voice saying,
Don't do this.
that.
Don't do
So
that.
I think that don't do that can carry some people. So just
Wow.
don't do that. Like, you gonna do it, but don't do that.
Now, Carla, would you say that obviously this is a woman's show here with Women in the Word? Would you say necessarily that Cardio Conversation is for just women, or would you say, hey, fellas, come check them out too?
How did I get this question?
Oh,
I don't know.
Well,
it was
I
good
don't
on
know.
you.
Look, because they already know, the ladies already know the answer. And my answer would be absolutely not. This show is for absolutely everyone. They know I promote the show to men. I promote it because, listen, a gym is a gym is a gym is a gym.
Yeah.
I will tell you this now, you know, now here's the difference between live and edited. Because
Okay.
sometimes I'll say something, I'll be like, well, if the producer on Cardio Conference, he can edit that out. But when I think about being a woman, you know, sometimes you get kind of intimidated to say, hey, men, come and listen. But then I thought about it. I'm a woman. I'm not a donkey. I'm not a rock. Because I'm certain if the donkeys and the rocks start talking, y'all wouldn't say nothing.
Right.
So listen, the word of God is for everyone. I definitely encourage men, come listen. I have a student. I am so blessed. I have a student who some of my students are now in their late 30s because I'm in my all right. So
looking good.
you know, I have a student who has daughters. He's a single father. And he watches a lot of our shows. And it benefits him because, hey, you're getting this perspective. You're getting this from ladies.
Yeah.
And it's things that I can tell my daughter. So it's like, I appreciate the men who support our show, the men who went to high school with us at Norview. And so, yes, definitely, hence the color of our book.
And we're going to get to that.
That was a
That was a battle. That was a battle.
An advocate. She is an advocate for the men. It was a major debate.
major.
Major issue, huh? Okay. I should have asked one of the questions.
It was a debate.
Most likely to start an argument should have been one of the questions. But let's transition that. What I love that I've heard is everything is rooted in Jesus. Everything is rooted in faith and belief and scripture. Let's talk about that for a minute. Tam mentioned that Trina and Carla are excellent teachers, and I'm sure, Tam, you are as well. Now, you all use logos. Now, we got to talk about logos. Logos is behind all of this.
Yeah.
And so you guys have been using logos. And we did, just for transparency, we did a tutorial session yesterday because I know they've been using it for a while, and I wanted to kind of introduce them to some things in logos. Now, of everything you've seen in logos, what are some things in logos that have just blown your minds? Like, I cannot believe the software can do that. What are some of the things that you liked about it so far?
For me, it's a one-stop shop.
Okay.
So if whatever I want, when I'm studying the word, you know, if I come across a word in the scripture and I want to further see that meaning, I can click on the word and I can see what it means. If I want to look at the commentary or of what that scripture is talking about or referring to, I can go and click on it. It's like everything's there, and it makes my study time, it's like I've learned more since I've gotten logos and studying the word than I did when I was studying it on my own. It's like logos gives me direction so that I can be successful. And it gives me those cross-reference scriptures, and them cross-reference scriptures give you some life. So it gives you the cross-reference scriptures. So it really helps you understand the word, not just at a superficial level, but like at the time that it was written, what was going on in the era. It really does dig deep to help you understand that without me having to do Google 15 times.
Yeah, and to just for to clear that up, yesterday we talked about the feature in logos called Fact Book, and I'll show that in just a minute. And we kind of jokingly at Faith Life, you know, in logos, we say, you know, we want people off of Google. Google is great for the theological research. That is, Google is great. You want to, get a restaurant review, or you want to get some information about your favorite singer or something like that. That's great. But when it comes to your theological information, so this is one of the things we found. I don't think I told you all this the other day, but we were kind of playing around, me and our team at Logos were playing around on it. And we were talking about Factbook, and someone did a Google search on the word tabernacle. And when they researched tabernacle in Google, it gave a picture of the biblical tabernacles. But like the third one down, it took you to a nightclub in Atlanta. And so we were thinking, you see, that proves it right there. So if you're trying to educate a friend or a child, let's say, on the Bible, and let's say you're studying a tabernacle, the last thing you want them to do is to stumble upon a nightclub. And it wasn't just we're going to dance and have some drinks nightclub. It was a nightclub, if you know what I mean.
Wow.
And so we're saying, go to Factbook. You can trust the theological resources there, and you won't have to be concerned, not just for kids, but for ourselves, even as grown folks. We can be tempted. We may see something and be tempted, and like, no, I probably shouldn't do that. But that's the Factbook. So I definitely want to show Factbook in just a minute. Carla, what's something that kind of stood out since you've used and seen Logos?
There is so much in Logos and so much that I love. I love geography. So I love looking at maps. And what I love is that you can click on it, right? You can read and click and go to those maps. I also love words. I love words. And what I love about it is you can look at the Latin, you can look at the Greek, you can look at the Hebrew. And a lot of times when you're looking on the surface of a word, it gives you, Lord, I told y'all about the editing out. All right, but I was looking at a word, okay, because word parts are so telling. You get so much from the Bible when you look at word parts. And I was looking at the word fornication, and I wanted the literal translation, which was vaulted chamber, like an oven.
Okay.
Because what I was doing was a study. I was doing a study to expand this idea, where we looked at creating our own light, because now think about what an oven does, creating our own light and heat for our own glory. And so what was interesting is I cross-referenced that with the story of the Tower of Babel, where they baked their own bricks for their own glory. And just talking about, just the things that we wouldn't think to confess, like when we're trying to get our own way, do our own stuff, create our own light and heat. All right. And some of the things that we just need to confess in that. So what I love is I love the word study, because it takes you back to the original roots of those words, and it expands your mind on how you look at those words. So I love how Logos, I think it was called presentation, where you had a lot of stuff open at the same time and you could look at the same time. I love being able to do a comparison of scriptures and look at how the translations are similar, how they differ, how they use a word, how that word picture is created. I also like the percentages. I'm not gonna get into that, but it's like, for someone that loves the word of God, loves words, and I believe that if you can't see it, you don't understand it.
Right.
And so until you can really create a picture that someone understands, they're really not getting it. And Logos gives you all of that. It gives you the picture, the word, the translation, a different way to say it. We're going to say it, for the top of the class, for the folks still trying to get in the class. Right. So I really enjoyed that about Bible Logos.
And that's good. And before we get to Tam's answer, I always say this for every show I do, and that is, using Logos is not a prerequisite for a guest up here. Most already use it. I've had a couple who don't, and that's fine. But I just warn them. I said, if you start using it, your life is going to change. And that's the only caveat. I said, just be prepared for life change when you do it, because I don't know if it was Trina or Carla said, it's not just surface level. It allows you to go deeper into the word. And, I don't know about you all's friends, but a lot of my friends, they don't go as deep into word study. They take it at surface level and think that, okay, I know this word, I use this word all the time, but we have to look at what that word meant when the original author intended it and how it was originally intended. And that can give a totally different meaning. So Tam, let's round this section up with you. What are some of the things you've either liked using about it or that you've heard about it? Some of the things that were like, wow, this is an aha moment for me using logos.
I think just the simplicity of, you can use it, just your basic Bible app. If you're in church and open to Hebrews 11, bam. I mean, you could use it for that. I do, like Carla, like the text comparison and how it will show you the difference from your designated Bible. You can choose that and just kind of look at the differences. I like the copying and pasting with the references so that if you are presenting something, you're able to speak to that and give that information right there. I just think the setup itself, you're able to kind of create it the way you want to view it. You know, you have different what they call the cards and what you can put. And, you know, if you want to have a devotional or, you know, a commentary there, you know, just having that ability just a click away. And then, you know, you can toggle, swipe, and you know, you want to leave that page up and you can have 8 pages up and you can flip through it. And I don't need that one. I'm going to throw that one out. And so, I mean, there are just so many different ways you can use it. We all learn in a different manner. Yeah. So you have the ability to set it up to where it'll benefit you and how you like to learn and how, you know, the steps you want to take in the process of your study. So I mean, it's vast. It is very vast. And however you want to, however deep, you know, you want to go to the basic or the most deep part of it, it's available. You can do it.
That's good. And again, I have not paid them. I didn't say, hey, when you get up here, talk about how great Logos is. I did not. I just said, hey, I know you use it already. Let me show you some other things. And so people that are watching it have just heard you all's opinion on it. And so they're probably like, yeah, that sounds good. But what does it look like? So I'm going to take a minute, if it's okay, to share my screen and show some things in Logos and show everyone what, you know, what these folks have been, you know, going crazy about. So here's Logos. This is Logos 9. Logos 9 has been out for about 1.5 years or so. And Tam just mentioned something called cards. And these cards up here at the top, I have my devotional, I have a reading plan, I have a prayer journal, I have another devotional up here. And we were playing around yesterday and we created something, a layout, and we called it Katrina's Bible Study. We created a prayer list for Tam. And but I wanna kind of jump into a passage and just kind of look at some of the things that, you know, they were talking about. And I'm just gonna pick something real simple, the John 3:16, right? John 3-16, something everyone knows. And before I do anything, I just type in John 3:16. And before I do anything, Logos asked me, well, how do you want to study John 3:16? So it gives you a bunch of different options, right? You can open up a passage study layout. You can open John 3:16 in your preferred Bible, whether or not you are an ESV person or King James or whatever, you can have it open up in that. It can even read aloud to you. So let's just do a passage study layout. Let's really quick. And so Tam, Trina, and Carla, you guys are seeing my screen. Okay, you seeing Logos?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So what just happened when I typed in John 3:16 is that in a matter of seconds, as you just saw, Logos just combed through. In my case, I have the diamond version of Logos, which is the pastor's version of Logos. You don't have to be a pastor to get diamond, but most pastors get diamond. But I have like 6,000 books in my resources. And so Logos literally just went through all 6,000 books in a matter of seconds and pulled this up. And so I have 3 Bible translations up right here in the middle, so I can read John 3:16, or I have it highlighted right here. So you can highlight, you can take notes, you can study individual words. And so you can, let's say I wanted to look at this word eternal, right? And so if I just rest my cursor on the word eternal, if you look on the right-hand side, what Logos just did is it popped up it went through all of my resources to give me a bunch of information about the word eternal. And so as I move over here, I can click on these. It's going to give me a bunch of different definitions, open up different Bible dictionaries. But I'm going to get right here, come down here to the translation. This is that text comparison feature that that a couple of you guys mentioned. And when you click that on the left-hand side, it gives me John 3:16. It shows the CSB, the ESV, the NASB, the LEB, the New Living Translation, NRSV, a bunch of different translations all in a row. So I can look and compare and see how the different translators of the Bible handle John 3:16. And you can see how it's different from one version to the next. And it's not about which version is better. That is not a comparison in that way. It's a comparison to look at how different translators handle that text to help you understand it better. And so I know some people are just like, King James only people, probably because their mama, their grandmama, their great grandma all use King James. And so they're stuck on King James. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, look at other translations to help you understand the text, that much more. And then we have a bunch of different commentaries over here on the left-hand side. Most people use about 3 or 4 commentaries, but depending on which version of Logos you have, it'll give you, many commentaries. Again, the Pastor's version of Logos gives you something like, 378 or something like that, different commentaries, and most people use about 4. So we got parallel passages, cross references. It even tells you what are some of the important passages are that you need to focus on when you study, John 3:16. And it just goes on and on. Again, you got the Greek, the Hebrew. It helps you with all of that. Even if you've never gone to seminary before and never taken Greek or Hebrew, don't worry about it. Logos will help you understand, as Carla mentioned, the word study and helping you understand what those words mean. And then the maps. We had a good laugh about it yesterday saying, hey, most people don't even really understand a lot of geography. And so when you read the Bible and it tells you where certain things are, it doesn't click because we don't necessarily know where those places are. But with Logos, at the click of a button, it's going to give you all this information about maps, and it's going to give you other biblical places, people, family trees, events, outlines, and so on. So I want to show just one other thing, because let me just say this as well. In the next week or so, I'm going to actually do a full hour-long demo or presentation of Logos. And for all of the people who have tuned in to Women in the Word, because in our Women in the Word series, we just give Logos about 5 minutes or so. But I'm going to do a full-blown hour-long demo and invite everyone who's been a part of, not the guests can come too, but everyone who has watched, to give you an opportunity to see a full-blown presentation of Logos. So stay tuned for that. I'm actually going to put that on my Instagram page. So if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's at Chauncey Almond. That's ALLMOND, and you'll see information about that. So I want to just talk about one thing, and I want to get back to the ladies to talk a little bit more about Cardio Conversation, talk about their book, their new book that just came out as well. And that is something called a workflow. Now, as we know, a lot of people, they study the Bible, which is great, but I hear a lot in my travels, and I'm sure you all do as well as you interact with your audiences. A lot of people just don't even know how to study the Bible. They just, what do we do? Reading it is great. But in Logos, there's something called a workflow, several workflows. But I want to look at the basic Bible study workflow. And when we look at that, Logos is asking, okay, what do you want to study? Right. And so let's just stick with John 3:16, since that's what we just did. So I'll do John 3:16, click a button, and Logos is going to give me a workflow or step-by-step instructions on how to study John 3:16. So if you look on the left-hand side, it gives you 9 steps. Read your passage. Step 2, read it in other translations. We just talked about that, reading it in something other than what you normally used to. Identify the people in your passage and identify the cross references. Summarize your passage. Review commentary discussions. We just talked about all the hundreds of commentaries you get in Logos. Determine your passage's theological principles. Apply the passage's principles to yourself. Now, that's what Cardio Conversation, you guys told me, was all about, is application. it really doesn't mean anything to read it if you can't apply it to yourself. So that comes up in step 8, which is, again, right in line with Carla, Tam, and Katrina are talking about week after week after week, is how does this apply to you? And just don't read it, but live it out. That's what step 8 is. And then finally, step 9, share insights from your Bible study. And I don't know about you, I have, older relatives, and they'll say, something was so good, I couldn't keep it to myself, right? So that's kind of what 9 is. You've read it, you're so excited about it. Now it allows you to share what you've learned to other people. And you can do that via Facebook, via Twitter, you can email, and so on. And on the right-hand side, it gives you more expansion in terms of what those steps actually mean. So that's just, I've shown you like 1.5 features of Logos. I've shown the passage study layout. I've shown the workflow and how Logos helps you study the Bible. You're not out here alone. You don't have to go to seminary. If you do, great, but you're not out here alone, just kind of floundering, trying to find out, how do I study the Bible? Logos is a tool to help you do that. And you can go to logos.com/WIW for Women in the Word, even get a special discount because you showed up today with Katrina, Carla, and Tam, and you get a special discount for that. So with that said, I'm going to transition back to you three and talk about this book that just came out. I heard some controversy about the cover, but what's this book all about? They're showing their books right now. Carla's getting hers somewhere. There it is. All right. Trina, tell us about the book. What's the name and who is it for? And I'm excited because I've been following you all and having book signings. Look at y'all from Northview, from Norfolk, having book signings. I'm so proud of you. Tell me about the book.
It's the blueprint to building a healthier you, one prayer at a time. It's a 52-week prayer journal meant to be done weekly and reflected on throughout the week. So it includes prayers. And some prayers are prayer starters because a lot of people feel like they don't know how to pray. So we start out praying like what we feel, because that's what we go to God. We should take our feelings to God. And and then it gives you an opportunity to fill in some of the prayers, some of your personal struggles that you're going through. But as you go through the prayer, we shift from how we feel to what God says in his word, because we always want to take you from how you feel to recenter you back into what God is requiring and what God's word tells us how to live. And then we also have, what is it called? Affirmations. We also have affirmations for each prayer that you can recite throughout the week, and the reason why it's weekly is because we don't want you to just read it one day and just go to the next thing. So we've gotten testimonies from people where they were reflecting on it for a whole week. We have a praise and petition section, and they were writing their stuff down throughout the whole week. And they went to the prayer the next week, and God was like, "No, you need to go back because you still got some more to do." So that's how it's organized. We've gotten great feedback. It's for everybody. If you're new to Christ, it works. If you have been saved for a long time, I've gotten feedback from both sides that really enjoy the book. The color is blue. This was a debate because Tam and I, we wanted eggplant. That's what the truth is.
Okay.
But Carla, she is our advocate. That's why it's good to have people that don't always think the way you think. Carla is our advocate for men. She has a strong men's ministry of things that she's doing in the community. And she wanted to make sure that this book was something that was versatile, that it could apply to men and women. And she didn't want the color to exclude men from it. So that's how we ended up deciding on this color. But it's a great book if you take time to read it. We've also got some songs. So it's broken up into rooms because we feel like the foundation of prayer, your prayer life should be the foundation upon everything in which you build your life upon. So we are going into different rooms, and in each room we have a song to minister to you concerning that room, and each room reflects something in your life. So get the book.
A blueprint to what? I'm looking at a blueprint
to building a healthier you. Somebody thought it was a workout book. I was like, no, it's a spiritual workout book. The blueprint to building a healthier you starts on the inside.
Wow. Now, Tam, when you all put this book together, how did that go? Did you assign chapters? Okay, Trina, you do this part. Carla, you do this part. I'm gonna do this part. How did that come together in the creation of the book?
At the end of each one of our cardio conversation shows, we do a cool down section, and then there's a prayer. Okay. And so that prompted us coming together, and we divided it up, and we started off just with each of us writing so many prayers. And from the prayers morphed the affirmations. And from the affirmations morphed into me saying, well, you know what? Because when she mentioned rooms, each room, it symbolizes something in life. So say there's difficult times, that could be a room. You've got the transitions that happen in life, that's a room. And so we broke it up like that. And so when you enter into a room, there's a QR code. You'll scan it with your camera on your phone, and a song will play. You are to listen to this song as you're reading through what this room is representing. What are you about to step into? What area of your life are these prayers going to deal with? So preparation is happening, posturing your heart to really deal with those areas. And we want you to be intentional. That's why it's for a week. And so once that happens, what else, guys? Am I forgetting anything? So pretty much that's it. And we have something called Navigating the Blueprint. We want you to actually read that, because that explains how we want you to experience the book. We don't want you to just read words on pages. We want you to experience the book and really let God minister to you. And as things are happening, there's a section, praise and petition notes. You can actually write, what you're feeling, what you've prayed for. God answered this. We just really want you to get real with yourself. The hardest thing to do is to examine oneself. And so once you're able to do that and get really transparent, you can really start dealing with those hard areas. And so that's basically what we want you to just kind of walk it out. Each room, deal with it, spend time with it. Don't just look at it and walk away from it. Stay there for that week. Wait and hear for the Lord. Because a lot of times we go to God, we just start blasting and saying stuff, and then you leave. Well, you need to stay there, because he's now going to respond.
Right.
And you have to be ready to hear what he has to say. But if you already going on to the next thing, you might miss it. So the week is purposeful.
That's good. That's good. And it sounds like he has put a lot of thought in this. I mean, who would have thought you scan a QR code and music starts playing to help you? I mean, that's unbelievable. That is so Carla, bring us home. People who want to get the book, where can they go to get it?
All right. If you would like to purchase the book, you just have to go to www.cardioconversation, no S, .com, and you can order a copy of the book right there. And so, yes, order your copy of the book. I want to add this. Once you order a copy of the book, once you get your copy, join our private Facebook group. Here's what we decided. This is not only a journal, this is a journey. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go on this journey with you for a year. We are going to show you how we interact with the book. And so even though we wrote it, okay, look, trust me, this is a Holy Spirit inspired book that, guess what? Once we put words to the page, we still are responsible to read and walk this out too. And so it's almost like when we read these books, it's like reading this for the first time, because now we're taking it in and we're allowing it to minister to us. And so walk with us, get your copy, and then join our Facebook group so we can all walk together. Like I tell people, we're walking to victory, and I'm always excited about it.
Wow. So here's a plan. Here's an idea. We want everyone to go to logos.com/WIW for Women in the Word, get your logos, and then go to cardioconversation.com, get the book week by week, as they said, as you read and pray and go through scripture, you got logos to help you walk you through the scripture and the deeper meanings, as we've all talked about already. And then it's a winning conversation. All I want to know is at this point is, do y'all need my address so I can get my book sent to me? That's all I need to know. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
But with that said, man, it's like 5 past the hour, and we were supposed to be finished a few minutes ago. I know we could probably go on for a long time, and I would enjoy that too. But I just want to thank you all. Thank you three, and I just want to say I am so proud of you guys. It's amazing. I remember you all back in the day in high school, running around at Norview, and now look at you writing books and in ministry and teaching and leading people in the word and leading people to Christ, and also just showing good friendships. I mean, the three, I'm sure you all fight sometimes, and we didn't get into, I'm sure you do. That's normal. It'd be abnormal if you didn't. But because you love each other so much, you stick together, and it's obvious. It's obvious that you all are best friends, and that's good to see. And so I hope that others who are watching this can be encouraged by your friendship, be encouraged by your love for the Lord, be encouraged for your passion for it. I mean, that just really came out throughout tonight. And I thank you for it. And I thank you all for being on. And I appreciate it. We may have to have, we will have you on again.
Yeah, all right. We'll come on. We'll come on.
Yeah.
There we go. So for Tam and ODU and Carla from Norfolk State and from, the VT, we thank you all again, and stay tuned for the next Women in the Word. I'm going to have as a special guest Bible teacher, ministry leader Wendy Alsop is going to be on this Thursday. And again, go to my Instagram. You'll be able to watch this recording from Cardio Conversation, as well as be able to register for the webinar or the show with Wendy Alsop. And you get to see all of the other interviews we've done already in the past. So again, thanks, ladies. I so appreciate you. And we'll see the audience next time on Women in the Word. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.